When you're looking at the selects that they do send you as an actor, like, I'm going to ask this, is like, what pops out to you? Or do you like, is it literally you just like, know this is your Bill or this is your Sarah or whoever you're casting, you just know? Or do people like have actors in their auditions been like, oh, I wasn't expecting this, but this is actually, this could be really fun?
Yeah. It's a little bit of both. I try to always keep a really open mind. So even though someone might not have like the look per se or the type that you were expecting, sometimes that can be great. Someone kind of coming out of left field who you wouldn't have thought would have been right, but really just gives a killer performance or, you know, has a kind of fresh take on it. And then sometimes it just feels like you've been kind of dreaming of this character forever, and then you see a tape and like that person's real and has come to life. And that's always a nice feeling too.
That almost seems jarring though, a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Wow, we did it.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Is there anything like, though, that like, and this isn't necessarily a fair question, but like anything that like you really like in those, because I assume these are mostly self-tapes at this point, like anything that really stands out. I just like, I've been wrestling with this idea of like standing out in auditions, right? Because like, that's my self-tape wall. Like we're taught, you know, have a wall, have good lighting, have good audio. The thing should speak for itself. But lately, time and time again, I swear to God, I keep hearing like, oh, this person went out and actually filmed the scene. And it's like,
I hate that, honestly.
Okay, good. Thank God.
I think it's really annoying.
Speak on that.
Personally. Sorry. I mean, I don't know. So I don't know. I think that's trying a little too hard. I don't think you need to do that. One thing I think is take the pressure off of yourself, because the truth is like we are all prisoners of our own body and shape and type, and so like you're not going to be right for every role, and it's, you know, it's obviously super subjective. You don't know what they're looking for, so you kind of just need to like relax and free yourself of those expectations, and instead just like try and enjoy the material to the extent that you can. Like find your way in, tell yourself you already have the role and that this is just a fun chance to play it and rehearse it. And I think if you have that attitude, then the process won't feel arduous. You'll actually get something out of the process, and you're more likely, I think, to pop on screen.
Yeah. I love that. First off, I love that you agree about the pick me almost aspect of like doing it in your car, because I think that sets the bar so high and is so not fair because not everyone has the same resources. But also I love what you just said. Like, although I feel like we're taught as actors, like a lot of acting teachers are like, no, don't bring yourself to the role. That's the worst thing you can do. But I'm like,
what?
No, I am who, well, I'm being honest, like, because they.
What acting teacher saying this?
I don't want to out people, but there's some big ones that say that's like a bad approach to do. And I'm like, I want to do this audition how I would do it on the day of. And like, for me, that's bringing me to it. I
mean, there are definitely different schools of thought on acting and different ways to approach the craft. I don't think, maybe you're not like always having to play. Some great actors are kind of playing versions of themselves every time. Oh, yeah. I guess what I'm trying to say is more like find your way into the material to like make it true for whether that's a version of yourself or a version of the character that you're embodying, but to find a way to love it. I think that comes through. And what's really weird about auditioning, especially self-taping, is like, and yes, you'll usually have a friend, hopefully, who's reading for you. But, you know, all great acting is about relationship and having secrets of like what you want that person to think about you or want them not to know about you. So trying to, it takes a even more imagination than normal, because when you're on set, hopefully like your costumes and, you know, you've got all the props and your fellow actors are there, and so it's filling in all those gaps of your imagination. And then when it's just you and a self-tape, it's like it's a lot of additional work on your imagination. So I think if you can pare it down to just what you really love about the material and connecting to whoever is off screen, I think that helps a lot. And kind of remember giving us like be generous. I think best actors are generous actors. And what I mean by that is they're willing to give us private glimpses of themselves, or like allowing the camera to catch things we might not normally want people to see.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And you're totally right about self-tapes. Like, it's so hard for me to get, turned up and excited in this room. But like I told you right before this, I had like 5 in-person auditions last week. And like, there's so much to going there and, getting there and
build up,
waiting. Yeah. The build up and the nerves. It takes me back to like when I did a lot of improv.
You go to the bathroom, you have diarrhea, then you immediately walk in and give your read. Yeah.
Yeah. Back when I did improv, I would get a little tingly. I'd get those little butterflies, that anxiety, and that like turns me on.
Yeah.
Not turns me on, but turns it on.
He's turned on.
I'm so turned
by
on.
Diarrhea.
But that's so hard to get, and I'm guilty of it, especially with commercial auditions. Is like, I'll wear fucking sweatpants in my commercial audition and just knock the thing out, and it's like that's just not the same as getting dressed for the part, going there, having a camera, having a waiting room, all that stuff.
I don't know. I guess like whether you're in person or self-taping, to the extent that you can make it about connecting with people, even invisible people who are not in the room because you're self-taping, I think that's really important. And so like when you're driving to I think in-person auditions are awesome, because I think it's not fair, the burden that we put on actors to have to do all these self-tapes themselves. And
I accept your apology.
Yeah.
On behalf of
I'm
every
sorry.
actor.
But I think it's a really nice opportunity, even though traffic and it's a pain in the butt to get places, but to connect with people. I don't mean that in like a impress people and like, network or whatever. Right. More like to actually like just care about other human beings and share a space with them for a minute. Like that's actually makes it worth your while.
Well, let me push back on you. Are you pushing for that more? I know a lot of like casting directors want more in-person auditions, but they're not given the resources anymore. They're like, oh, you may do without it. When you're producing stuff, are you pushing for in-person auditions as much as you can?
Maybe, yes, but more like for callbacks and chemistry reads and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, you definitely need them for chemistry.
Yeah.
Zoom chemistries.
It's hard. It's tough. It's tough.
That's
I've seen it work before, but it's tough.